Donna Samson made a life-altering decision when she was 19 years old during her country's revolution. She is now a transformational coach and master NLP practitioner. She helps women move out of their own way and get to their next level of income and impact in a way that feels good and makes a difference. Her biggest passion is to help women uncover their true self, their true desire, and step into their power first so they can build and align business from a place of personal power. It is my pleasure to welcome Donna to the Love Your Mission Inspiring Women interview series. Donna, I am so glad that you are part of the Love Your Mission Inspiring Women interview series. So thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Ligia. I am so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, so let's get started. What is something that you're celebrating today?
Celebrating today. Well, how about I am celebrating you today and arranging all this and always looking for how to bring more value to women. So yeah, I'm celebrating you today and thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you. That is a nice honor for you to say that. So thank you so much. All right. So as you know, I've worked with women who are trying to determine what their career path is going to be, what they're going to do. They're in this crossroad. And think back on when you first started working, what are 3 things that you wish you had known when you first started working?
One of the things that I think is important at any stage is not to link your identity to the job or to the title that you are doing. And that's for 2 reasons. First, if you have an entry-level job or something that is not exactly the one that you aspired to, don't ever say, I am just, because you are so much more than that. It just happened that you do that particular job in that moment of your life. And on the flip side, don't connect your self-worth to the title. Like, even if you do have the title that you wanted to, don't connect your self-worth to the title. What if anything happened in the future if you lose that title? Are you gonna lose your self-worth as well? So you are a human being with unlimited potential. Those are just jobs and titles that you are doing at that time in your life. Doesn't mean anything about you, the value of the person that you are. So this is the number 1 that I think it's key at any time in your career. The second one is don't romanticize the job because many times we think that, oh my God, I am just in love with that kind of a career or job. Instead, look at the process. What is the process gonna look like? So to make sure that you're gonna enjoy the process, because the benefits of the job or the title of the job are not gonna fill the 8 hours or whatever many hours you're gonna do a day, but the process will. So make sure the process is something that you enjoy. So that would be the second one. And the third one, the third one would be, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You can always change it. You know, it doesn't mean that you will be doing it for the rest of your life. You can always adjust and change. So take that pressure off you, try it out, because that's the only way you're gonna find out if you like it or not. So that would be my 3.
No, that's great. I absolutely agree, especially with taking that pressure off. Like you probably will change. I went in when I went in to get my degree, I went in for bachelor's in social work, thinking I would love it. And it soon taught me that, no, that's not what I wanted to do. And now I'm like, okay, now I have this degree, and now what I'm going to do? Fortunately, I was able to find something else that I was able to still have the social work aspect to it, but it was not the other career that I was like, that I did not want to do for a while.
And you won't know until you try it, no matter how much research you do and you ask other people. Even if somebody will say, oh, you're going to love it, you don't know, because you're not them. You are
Exactly.
you. And the only way to find out is go for it and figure it out. And if you don't like it, change it, or,
Yes.
modify it somehow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was so great that you also mentioned that title should not define you. That is absolutely true, because how many times have I know I've seen definitely, and I've worked with women who are like, they're this, and all of a sudden they no longer have that title and they are feeling so lost.
And because it's an identity, that's who they are. That's they think that's who they are. So it's not only the job, job security or paying your bills. It's more than that. Now it's identity. Who am I? I'm lost. I'm not that anymore. What am I going to do? What are going to say, people, my friends, because I used to be a whatever the title. So yeah, it's a dangerous game. I've seen many people fall into depression, and not necessarily because of the money or of the position, but the title. They identify themselves with the title. So that's why I said this. I think it's the key at any level in our careers. It's just
Absolutely.
a title. Like, you're so much more than that.
So much more. You're way more than that. I mean, if we have to look at titles, how many hats? Look, I'm wearing a hat. How many hats do we wear?
Yes.
In our life. That's just one of them.
Especially now, whenever in history you could create your own title, you could create your own job description with the title and go for it. So absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. All right, so take us through your career journey that you have gone through and share with us.
I will go in a couple of points because it's too long for this interview. I'm going to start with the first and then jump to the last one. So the first, I was born and I grew up in Romania. And my first job was actually in Greece on an island. After the revolution, while I was there, the country was under the dictatorship. So after the revolution, I left Romania, and Greece was the country where I had my first job. And that job was in a breakfast place with ice cream and sandwiches. And I had 2 weeks to learn in English and Greek. I had to learn the numbers. I had to learn a short, simple, formal, informal communication, and the products. And I remember I knew Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and one time somebody asked me for a Coke. I panicked. A Coke, I don't know this drink. What kind of drink is that? Oh, no. And yes, so that was my first job. I learned a lot from that job, trust me. And then years later, I moved to Canada, and my career, the first one and basically the one prior to the coaching, was working as a legal assistant in a law firm. And even though it was something that I always wanted to do, working in a legal environment, it was my dream. I thought that's how I'm going to protect people, and that's how I'm going to help people. So, and as we spoke earlier, what we think is going to be is not always the case. So after years, I did enjoy the work. I did like the helping part of our clients, and but I was always looking for something else. It's like something was missing. I couldn't find myself feel settled, you know, when you feel like that's it, that's home, that's where my job is. And I never had that feeling at home. I was always looking for something else. And I remember one time we were having a lunch with all the girls from the office, and they were so happy and discussing about, one of them just came back from a vacation and she was planning her next vacation. And she had no problem about waiting another year for a 2-week vacation. You know what I mean? I looked around and I'm like, oh my God, it's not the job, it's me. It's me, it's not. I really had no reason to complain about the job or the boss or anyone. It was just me. So that's when I started looking away from that. Instead of trying to find another job, like similar job, I realized that that's not what I should be looking for. I have to focus on something else. And I remember back then everyone was asking, there are lots of articles and questions at interviews about what advice would you give to your younger self? And I asked myself that question, but actually I didn't have an advice for her. I needed an advice from her, because when I was 20, I was full of courage and I was looking for a place where I can be myself, and that would be enough. It wouldn't matter who are my parents, who is my father or my uncle or anyone. It would be enough to be myself. And like I said, I was asking her, and then I went back to that beginning and everything that I went through. And here was I in Toronto, Canada. Nothing would stop me from pursuing whatever dream I had. And yet I was so much in my head with so many self-imposed limitations that I felt frozen. I felt like I have no other options. So once I understood that's where I was at that time, all it took is work, unpacking all that, so that I can focus on the future and what would be next for me.
It is that self-imposed limitations is something that I had to recently do, and you get so caught up in your head that it stops you from moving forward, and you have to get out and use resources or even resources like you as a coach that I know that yes. You do too. And yes, I completely understand.
Yes, I see it everywhere. That's one of the passions that I have, to help people uncover that this is only in their head. It has nothing to do with reality. First of all, the reality, you can create your own reality. Reality comes from inside out. Reality doesn't come from outside in. Reality comes from inside out. So once you understand that, you start working on, okay, where else am I holding myself? And so on until you get to the point where you are satisfied kind of and move to the next step. Absolutely. But like I said, looking back at 20 years old, what I had no resources. I never have saw the passport. I never saw dollars. I had no idea where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do, and nothing stopped me. And now when I was completely safe and with all the resources that I ever wanted, I was scared and panicking and not seeing any options. So yeah, definitely was not the resource, not the external resources, that's for sure. It was, I had to go inside and figure that out. And that's what applies to many of us, like probably the way you see in your coaching as well.
Absolutely. So take us back, because you mentioned that you had to leave your country due to the revolution. How old were you when you left, and how did you end up in Greece?
I was 19.
Okay.
And I remember I had an atlas, like the book with maps and everything from geography in my school. So I took that book and I was looking at the neighbors and I was choosing basically where can I go? So yeah, Greece felt like the easiest way to get there. And even though I could write a book about the whole process, I make it sound very easy and simple. It wasn't. It was a whole process. It was a whole new thing to experience and to get that because I needed visa for Greece. It's not like they were waiting for me.
Right.
So that's what I am like. And back when you really want something and you don't take a no for an answer, trust me, everything is going to work out with you. I remember we were at the border between Turkey and Greece, and they wouldn't let us continue. You had to be in a car, or there was like a bridge and you could walk. And I remember we were asked, I don't even know how we were asking, we knew like 2 words in English. We were asking to go, that we want to go to Greece. And they were showing us, you don't have visa, you can't go. I said, that's okay, just let me go. And from what I understood, in the end, they say, okay, go, but you will come back because you're not the first one. Like, you will come back. I'm like, okay, doesn't matter, come back or not, let me go. And we didn't come back because we said, no communist, no whatever we knew to say. And it happened that the people that work, the officers that work, they gave us a chance. They didn't send us back. They gave us a chance. We were 2 girls, me, 19, and the other one was 24, like 5 years older, a friend of mine at the time. And they gave us a chance and they let us in. They called the police and they took us all through all this process. But my point is, we didn't come back. If we would listen to that officer from the Turkish part of the border, we would say, okay, I guess we can do it. But we didn't. We said, can we just go? Like, I don't care what you think. Just let me go.
And you were determined. I mean, think of it. You're a teenager.
You know what, Ligia? Mm-hmm. The thing is, I had no personal development books. I had no videos. I had no YouTube, none of that. That was before the internet. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know much. I knew one thing. This is what I want. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for it. So there was nothing to hold me back, to do my research. Now we have so much information that sometimes is not good. You know that being naive sometimes helps, because you could get, if you do the research, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't go for it because you see all the risk and all the danger. Well, to a point, because do the research and don't do dangerous stuff, but you understand my point.
Absolutely.
If you would do all the research and if you would see, oh, I can't do it, I have to do this and that, many times it stops you. But because I didn't have any of that, I was just, okay, I'm just gonna, go with it. Like, what's the worst can happen? Yes, like I am, this is a legal authority. I mean, they are officers. They are, you know what I mean? I'm not in any danger. And let me try, like, what's the big deal? I'm coming from, we were under dictatorship for 24 years. Like, let me try find my freedom. Let me try find my way in my life. Right. Give me a chance. Right. And so that's why it helped me. Looking back, everyone was giving advices. I didn't have an advice for her. I needed her advice at that point. So,
wow, that's amazing. Before we continue with the interview, I wanted to make sure that you know that I'm here to help if you find yourself at a career crossroad and need support to determine your next path. I invite you to get your free career upgrade audit. This assessment is a personalized and comprehensive report to help you in getting clarity on where you are and what you want to do in your life. I invite you to schedule your complimentary call and audit with me today. Please make sure to like and subscribe the channel. Now back to Donna. Another question on that, because again, you were 19, you went to Greece. Did you just like, at what point did you say, I'm going now, I'm done with this dictatorship, I'm done with what's happening here? What made you go and just finally decide to go?
So the revolution happened in December 1989. And at the beginning, January, February of 1990, I would see showing on TV because the dictator was no longer there. So we were able to actually see news on TV, the proper news. And I saw a lot of people jumping on trains and going to different countries. So I said, this is my opportunity. This is right now while it's still hot, because the longer it's going to take from this, more things are going to change and the countries are not going to be accepting us as easily, which actually happened. By the time I couldn't find a partner. I couldn't find somebody to come with me. Everybody, the male people that I knew, friends or family, they say they don't want to go with the female. And the ladies that I knew, no one wanted to. What am I going to eat? What am I going to sleep? They had all these questions. So it took me a few months. I left in June. So from January, the end of December until June, things start changing and countries were not accepting Romanians anymore. So whoever left right after, even for me, it was late when I got to Greece. My end destination was Canada, but I wasn't able to anymore because they said that now it's democracy in Romania, is no longer dictatorship. So you have to go through a different process. So by the time I found a person to live, to come with me, things changed. Sure. But if I would wait even later, it would be even harder and harder and harder. So yeah, seeing that, I'm like, I can do that. And I always hated that mentality of you as a person. Let's see what else, like who's your father, who's your uncle, who is this? So much corruption and things. And yeah, it wasn't for me. I just wanted something else. Mm-hmm. So that's how I decided to leave.
That's amazing. Again, I mean, I'm just thinking, I mean, in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, that's where, I mean, I'm just thinking, I was like, gosh, I was just like barely out of high school. And you're going through all of this at 19 and making that courageous decision to go, I'm going to change my life and making such a big impact for yourself. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely.